Division splits a number into equal groups, and the result of a division is the number of items in each group. There are many ways of writing division. Starting from the left, you can use a division sign. You can also represent it as a fraction. Both of these ways of representing division need further processing to get it to an answer. All of the numbers written are the same number. So 18 divided by 4 is the same as 4 plus a half, or 4 and a half. And it is also the same as 9 divided by 2, which is the simplest fraction. It's the same as 450% and 4.5. You perform division by counting in the denominator or the bottom number until you make it to the top number. So in this case, if I count in 4s until I get to 20, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, I end up getting that I've counted 5 times, so my answer is 5. If I have a number which doesn't divide exactly, such as 18 divided by 4, when I count up, I go to the biggest number, which is still less than the number I'm counting up to. And after I get that number, that gives me the first part of the answer. I then get the fractional part, or the remainder, by subtracting the number I counted up to from the number I was aiming to count to. In this case, I get 2, and then I just need to divide that by the denominator of the original question. I can also represent 2 over 4 in a simpler way, and I can achieve that by finding a number that I can count to both the numerator and the denominator in. So in this case, I can count in 2's to both the numerator and denominator. My final answer as 4.5. Another way of representing the result of a division is to write it in its simplest fractional form. In order to do that, you need to find a number that you can count to both the numerator and denominator in. And in this case here, we can count in 2s. So counting in 2s, I get down to 4, and then that means I've counted 2 numbers, so that I can replace the 4 for 2. And with the 18, counting in 2s, when I get to 18, I've counted 9 numbers, so that is my result for the numerator. You may need to repeat the division process more than once to simplify a fraction. On bigger numbers, it can take a long time to count just in the denominator to make it to the numerator. So what you can do is you can perform long division. To perform long division, you rewrite the problem in a different form as shown here. So you'll put the denominator on the left and the numerator on the right. You'll work from the left-hand side across the right-hand side. You will count until you get to the first number, just like we did in normal division. With your counting, the number of numbers that you counted goes to the top, and you then subtract off the number you counted to. Performing that subtraction, we would have 7 minus 4, which equals 3. And then the next step is to copy down the next number along, which gives us 36. You then count in the denominator until you get to 36. Again, the number of numbers that you counted goes to the top line, which is your answer, and you subtract off the number that you counted up to. The next step continues to repeat, so we copy down the next number, which gives us 3. Counting in 4s until we get to 3 will give us a result of 0, so we both copy 0 to the answer and also subtract 0. At this point, we can give an answer which is 190 plus 3/4, because 3 is our remainder from the division. We can also continue further and get a decimal answer. To get a decimal answer, all we need to do is put a decimal point on our answer line, and then we'll copy down the next number. As there is no number behind the decimal point currently on the value that we're dividing, it will always be 0. So we copy down a 0, and now we have 30 to count up to. Again, write the number of numbers that we counted to on the top line and subtract off the number we counted up to. The next step is to copy down the next number. This is a repeating process. Finally, count up in the denominator until we get to the 20, which we again write the number of numbers we counted on the top line and subtract off the number we counted to. At this point, we see that the remainder is 0, which tells us that we have completed our division. To perform division on decimal numbers, if the decimal is in the numerator, you proceed as normal with absolutely no changes to the method. If the fraction is in the denominator or the bottom value, you need to remove that decimal from the bottom value, which you can do by multiplying both the top and the bottom by 10, 100, or whatever else you need to do. Multiplying both the top and the bottom by a value such as 10 divided by 10, you are multiplying the value by 1, which does not change the value. Division problems can also easily be checked using a calculator.